Everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Veronica, known as Data Geek. Please consider subscribing to my channel for beginner-friendly tutorials on Python and data analytics. In this beginner-friendly tutorial, I'm going to build a complete data pipeline using Python and Streamlit. You'll learn how to upload a CSV file in a browser and save that data in a MySQL database, and then you'll be able to visualize it using plotly charts. There is no complicated setup, just real world skills you can use in data analysis and projects. So what you'll learn today, you're going to learn how to upload a CSV file using Streamlit, save the data in a MySQL database, and load and query data from a MySQL, visualize using plotly charts, and handle real-time interaction in your dashboard. And the tools we're using is Python, Streamlit, MySQL, Plotly, plus Pandas, and the bonus, file saving in MySQL. Workflow steps. We're going to upload a CSV file in Streamlit, read CSV file with Pandas, save data to a MySQL with SQL Alchemy, load data back from a MySQL, choose X and Y axis for charts, and view interactive plotly line charts. But before we get started, I want to do a shout out to one of my viewers who has requested this tutorial. They requested, can you show how to upload data to a MySQL database and visualize it using Python? Absolutely. First, I had to try it myself. I got it up and running, so now I am going to share it with you all. Thanks for the great idea. Now let's get started, and I'll see you inside Visual Studio. All right, so here I am in Visual Studio. So the first thing we need to do is we need to open up a folder. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and go over the folder structure, which I have here. So you want to name your folder Streamlit underscore mysql underscore dashboard. Inside that folder, we want to create these 4 files. So it's going to be app for short for app.py, mysql underscore config.py, upload underscore handler.py, and requirements.txt. So there should be 3 Python folders along with a requirement text folder. These should all be inside the main folder name Streamlit underscore MySQL dashboard. Now, just a tip, if you're using Anaconda, you may need to place your project folder inside your Anaconda environment's dictionary to avoid import or execution errors. This is where it should more or less look like. So C drive under users, it should have your name, then your Anaconda folder should be Anaconda or Anaconda 3, and then lib. In that lib is where you're going to create your file, which is Streamlit underscore MySQL dashboard. So Streamlit sometimes needs your app file inside the Python path. So if you're getting issues, move the folder to your Anaconda 3 lib dictionary. So since I'm not using Anaconda for this tutorial, I'm just using Visual Studio itself. So I can place this folder in my downloads folder, which is here. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go new folder. And I'm going to name this Streamlit underscore mysql underscore dashboard and enter. So now I have a new folder. Of course, it's empty. There's nothing in it, but I'm going to open this folder up inside Visual Studio. But first off, I want to show you this data set. So I have a data set here. It says sales data underscore Streamlit MySQL. So this is the data set I created so that we can drag and drop into the browser once the app is created. And then when we drag and drop this into that browser, it's going to go ahead and send it to the PHPMyAdmin MySQL. So we'll go over this. It's order ID. Let me zoom in a bit. Order ID, customer name, product, quantity, price, total sales, region, and date. So again, this is going to be created in our PHP admin. So let's go there next. So here I am in my PHPMyAdmin. Here's our databases. I just want to show you this because once we drag and drop, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you that it was created. So let's close this back up and let's go back to Visual Studio. Now we can open up our folder which we created in the downloads folder. There it is, Streamlit underscore MySQL dashboard, and select folder. So now we have our folder here. Now in this folder, like I said before in the PowerPoint, we want to create these 4 files here. So we're going to go ahead and build that structure in Visual Studio. So right next to your folder name, there's some little icons next to it. We're going to click on New File. So if you put your cursor over it, it'll pop up New File. So then you're going to go ahead and click that. Now our first one is going to be app.py. Enter. Now create another new file. And this one is going to be mysql underscore config.py. Enter. All right, so create another one. And this one is going to be upload underscore handler.py. Enter. And then our fourth one is going to be a text file. So we're going to go ahead and put new file again. And this one's requirements.txt. Enter. So now you should have 4 files inside your folder. So let me zoom in here so I can kind of show you what it looks like. So the first one is app.py. So this is the heart of your dashboard. It builds the Streamlit web interface. It handles 3 main steps, such as uploading a CSV, saving it to a MySQL database, and loading and visualizing the data using Plotly charts. This is also where we run the app. So when we go and we put in our terminal Streamlit run app.py, this is the app we're going to run. And then next, this mysql-configuration.py. This stores the code to connect to your SQL database. So this keeps sensitive information such as the host, username, password, and so on to separate and organize. This is also used in both uploading and reading data from MySQL. Now the upload underscore handler.py here, this handles the logic of taking the uploaded data frame and saving it into a MySQL table. And then now the text file, which is the requirements text file, this all Python packages your project depends on. So it helps others to install everything with just the pip install requirement.txt. We will also run this in the terminal, and all you have to do is just put pip install, like a little -r requirements.txt, which I will show you later. And once you write that into your terminal, it will read your whole requirement.txt file and download everything that you need, such as all of your packages. All right, so the next step. So now that we have all of our files, we're going to start writing up some code. So in this case, instead of having the video longer, instead of typing up all this code, I'm just going to go through it. I already pasted in all of the code in each of these files. So the app.py, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. So the first line of code all the way to 1 through 5. So we're importing Streamlit to build our app, Pandas to handle data, and Plotly to create beautiful charts. The upload handler here and the MySQL configuration import get connection are custom helper files we'll use to keep our code clean. Then next here, number 7 and number 9, we're setting the page title and layout. This gives us a clean, wide dashboard space to work with. We read the uploaded file in a data frame and show preview of the first few rows, 12 and 13. And then now going to lines 15 through line 25. When the user clicks the button, we call our helper function, which is the save underscore to MySQL, to insert all the rows into our database. If it succeeds, we show a success message. Otherwise, we show an error message. So here in step 2, we're going to load the data from MySQL. Line 28, 30, and 31, we load the data back from the database. So we store it in session state so it doesn't disappear after interaction. So it goes to the database and then from the database to back to us. So we can kind of like see it on the web browser and it doesn't disappear. Then from line 33 to 41, this is a button. And when clicked, this button fetches the data from the MySQL table and displays it below the button. Now in this next section, so step 3 is visualize the data. Line 44 through 47. If we have the data loaded, we can now select columns to build the chart. And then from line 49 to 56, creates a dropdown. The dropdown allows users to choose columns for the X and Y axis. And keep in mind, only numeric columns are allowed on the Y axis for meaningful charts. And this line 58, that if statement to 60. Once selected, we plot a line chart using Plotly. You can change this to a bar, scatter, or other charts styles you like. And then this else statement, if the user hasn't loaded the data yet, we will display a reminder message to let them know that they need to load the data. So it reminds you that all this code is in the app.py file. Now going to the mysql_fig, we're going to import mysql.connector, and then we use the df get_connection. So now this connects to your MySQL. So you're going to have to put your host, which in this case it's localhost. Your user is a root. Password, you put your password in there. And database CSV underscore dashboard. Now requirements. So now this is just your TXT file. These are the required packages that need to be installed. So it installs all of these packages at one time. And then our next file is upload_handler.py. So as you can see from MySQL and import pandas, so we import two things here. So we get connection from MySQL config file, and then we insert pandas because we'll be working with a data frame. Now lines 6 through 8, this function is called save_to MySQL. So it accepts two arguments here. So df, which is here. So df is the pandas data frame, and then the table name is the name of the table we want to save the data to. So we then connect MySQL and create a cursor to run SQL commands. And then here is where we put drop table if it exists. To avoid conflict or duplicate tables, we drop the existing tables first if it already exists. 14 to line 21, here's where the magic happens. We loop through each column in the data frame and figure out the correct SQL data type. If it's an integer, we use int. If it's a float, we use float. Otherwise, we default to a text. Now lines 23 and 24, we build and run the SQL statement that creates the new table with the right column, names, and data types. And line 27 to 30, this part loops through every row in the data frame and creates a SQL insert intro statement. We make sure to escape single quotes to avoid breaking the SQL command. And finally, lines 32 and 33, we commit all changes and close the connection. And now that we're done with all of our code, we can go up here to the top where it says terminal, click terminal, new terminal. And first we want to install all packages. So you do pip install -r, and then our file name, which is requirements.txt. Making sure it's spelled correctly, otherwise it will give you an error because it's trying to find that file name. So spelling is critical. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Now it installs all of the packages. And next, I'm going to go ahead and put Streamlit, run, and then your file name, which is app.py. Now this is where it's going to happen. I hit enter, and your local host browser will pop up. And here it is. So now you'll see upload CSV file and visual data with MySQL plus Streamlit. So this is what we just created. This is the web browser I've been mentioning. So if you scroll down here, this is it. So step 1, upload your CSV file, choose the CSV file. You also have a button here to browse for files. Step 2, load data from MySQL. So you can load the data once you uploaded your file, and then you can visualize your data. So let's try it out. So as you remember, I have that sales data Streamlit in my downloads file. So I'm going to click on it, drag and drop, and it says file uploaded successfully. So there it is, sales underscore data underscore Streamlit underscore mysql.csv. So there's my CSV file. So if I scroll down, there's the table to preview. These are all my columns: order ID, customer name, product, quantity, price, total sales, region, and date. Scroll down some more. So now I have some more buttons. So save to MySQL, click that. Okay, so this is unknown database, CSV underscore dashboards. So we're going to go back to PHPMyAdmin, and we're going to create this CSV underscore dashboard. So go to create CSV underscore dashboard, making sure it's correct. And now hit create. So now that we have a CSV dashboard all created, no tables. So it says create new table. There's no tables there. So what we want to do is we're going to go back here and we're going to reset this. So now we're going to go ahead and try this one more time. So I'm going to click and drag here, drop. Now we have our data saved to MySQL. Data saved to MySQL as an uploaded data table. Now step number 2 is load data from MySQL. Data loaded from MySQL. So now we can visualize it. So choose an x-axis, order ID and price. And then also it gives you interactions, little pop-ups here. So it does that. So let's go back to PHPMyAdmin, and we'll go ahead and click on it again. CSV dashboard new, uploaded data. So we click that, and here is our table. So now our data went to our PHPMyAdmin. So we did all that from that app. So this is really cool. So going back to that app, now you can do this with any data set. Just drag and drop, and it will show you a table here. It'll upload to your MySQL. Just make sure you create your database first, which I forgot to mention, and then load the data for visuals. So that is it. You just learned how to upload a CSV file in Streamlit, save it to MySQL database, and build dynamic visualizations, all with Python. I linked the full code and the dataset in the description below so you can start building right away. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.